Good morning, grade 5 students. It's Miss Lilian talking, and today we're going to introduce a new grammar chapter concerning can and can't. Starting with the formation of can and can't, we have three examples over here. Number 1, I can swim. Number 2, they can speak English. And number 3, she can ride a bike. The formation in these three sentences is the same. We start with the subject, then can, and then the verb in its simplest form, simple form of the verb. So please be sure to have the verb all the time in its simplest form. We have an example over here using pronouns I, you, we, they, he, she, or it. You can use a proper noun or a common noun even. Then you follow that by can, and then the verb, as we said, in its simplest form. The base form of the infinitive where you cross to, so you'll have only the verb in its simplest form, like go, need, speak, or live. Whenever we say the word infinitive, it means to plus the verb. So if you want to use the infinitive, cross the to and leave only the simple form of the verb. Here we have a sentence which is used in three different ways, where the first time it's correct and the other two times it isn't. Why? Because the first time they placed the subject, he, followed by can, and then the verb in its simplest form, speak, and the object, which is English. The second time they said, he can speaks English. Although we have a singular subject, we mustn't match the verb whenever we have can to the subject. So no need to have a singular verb. Instead, just put the verb in its simplest form. He can speak English. And in the third one, they used the infinitive, but they didn't cross the to. He can do speak English. That's absolutely also wrong. So it must be he can speak English. Here we have some examples for positive statements and negative statements where we changed the same sentence from being a positive one to being a negative one. All what we did is changing can into can't. I can speak English. I can't speak English. He can run very fast. You can't run very fast. He can sit in the garden. He can't sit in the garden, and so on. You can read the following examples for further information. So, negative form of can is either cannot or cannot, and its negative contraction is can't. Cannot is not very common in speaking, so usually this word cannot, we don't use it a lot whenever we're talking. Most common thing is can't, and I think that's really familiar with you. Negative yes-no questions, and please concentrate on the fact of that we are talking about yes-no questions are formed by putting the can before the subject and usually have short answers. So only yes-no questions have short answers. Like, can they play outdoor? Yes, they can, or no, they can't. So to change a sentence from being a positive sentence to a question sentence, all what you have to do is move the can from being after the subject, like he can, to being before the subject, like can he. We're gonna talk about that in details after a while. Uses of can. So we use can to express number 1, ability, number 2, inability, number 3, request, number 4, permission, and number 5, possibility. In number 1, they gave you two different examples. Sarvin can ride a bike. He can speak Japanese. Thus here, they are showing you the ability of someone. Thus, what is he or she able to do? The second one, we are showing the inability. Thus, what someone is not able to do. So, he can't ride a horse. I can't type very fast. So all what they did here between the ability and the inability is changing from can into can't. Since here we are showing what can we do And here we're showing what we can't do. Number 3 is the request. Request is like asking for something. And the examples say, can you help me or can you tell me the way to the museum? Thus, you're asking someone to do a favor for you or to help you with something. And it's in the question form, if you can notice. Thus, we have the can followed by the subject, verb, and then the object. Permissions also come in question form when you need to take permission to do something, and that's really common in school. We always take permission to get out of the class, go to the toilet, drink water, ask a question, or do any other thing. Can I use your cell phone? Or can I take a day off? The fifth use of can is to show possibility. The florist can deliver the bouquet early, or my friend can visit me this week. It's showing possibility, that it's possible that he will do that, or it's possible that he won't do that. Can is not normally used to describe future possibility in the positive form. It can rain tomorrow. That's not really logic. We're not going to use can to show something that's going to happen in the future. We can't predict the future. To form a question by using can, you start by placing can before the subject, and we have mentioned that before, then the subject, and followed by the verb. We have some examples here. Can before the subject, which is you, and the verb, that is swim. And since here we have a yes-no question, the answer is yes I can or no I can't, a short answer. Here we have a question with a WH word, and we get back to the rule that's written over here. To use a WH word, have the WH word before can, then follow the steps mentioned above. Thus, place can before the subject, then the subject, and follow that by the verb. Where, which is the WH word, followed by can, then the subject, and then the verb. Where can you swim? And here, it isn't a yes-no question, so we have a longer answer. In a swimming pool, or when can you swim? I can swim after work. So as we said, to form a question, move can from after the verb, after the subject, to before the subject, and then put the verb after the subject and the object. And whenever you have a WH word, put the WH word before the can. Here also, it's a clearer way to change a sentence from affirmative to question. As you can notice, all what they did, instead of having you can speak Spanish, they flipped can before you, and it turned to be can you speak Spanish? Yes, no question. So short answer, yes I can, no I can't. Affirmative, she can ride a bike. We change it into question by putting the can before the she. Can she ride a bike? Also, it must have a short answer, yes she can, or no she can't. Thus, as a summation in our lesson, we talked about the uses of can, we talked about the affirmative, negative, and question form of a sentence using can. Hope that everything is going to be easy for you, and hope that you understood all the content in this video. If you need any further information or you have any questions, I'm always ready to help. Wishing you a good time, and please stay safe.